Welcome to Bonehead of the Week. Gabe, it says you're back. You've been gone for a couple days. But we're back for Bonehead of the Week, as we are every single Friday here on the Tony Michaels podcast and replaying on the MeidasTouch network every single Friday. So don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, the Tony Michaels podcast. Click subscribe and the bell notification so you don't miss a thing. Also, if you're on the MeidasTouch network watching the replay right now, make sure to hit that subscribe button. It is not that difficult. Just hit subscribe on our channel and the MeidasTouch channel. Also, if you want to vote, because that's the thing about the Bonehead of the Week, is you vote. The audience votes. You decide, we break it down for you, because there's no stopping the vote. There's no stop the steal. There's no rigging the count here on the Tony Michaels podcast. And here's how you vote, Gabe. You go over to Twitter at Tony Michaels Pod. You follow us there. You can vote there. You can also vote on our YouTube channel on the community tab. Do you know where a community tab is? You just go to the channel while you're subscribing, Gabe. And over on the side, it says community. You just hit the community tab. Boom. There's the polls. And we throw some memes and stuff in there too. You know, every once in a while, we'll put some new merch out. So we'll announce it there on the community tab. Speaking of new merch, holy moly, everyone's been loving these. I think it's getting cold outside, and people are preparing to stand in line to vote, no matter how long they have to stand in line, no matter how cold it is, because they've been running over to store.theTonyMichaels.com to grab their zip-up hoodies, sweaters, and they all say the freedom to oppress the rights of other people is not liberty. It's our motto here at the Tony Michaels podcast. So go grab your hoodie or your zip-up hoodie. It's getting cold, and you're going to have to stand in line. These Republicans are definitely going to do everything they can to make sure that you have a difficult time voting, but you must vote. You must. You have to crawl over broken glass and hot coals to make sure your voice is heard. So don't forget to go to store.theTonyMichaels.com and grab your warm Liberty gear there. Gabe, our boneheads this week. Woo, boy. Bonehead. He can't get out of the news. Kanye West is one of them. Randy Kaufman, never heard of this guy until just a couple days ago.
Yeah.
But it's not surprising he is a MAGA Republican. So we'll explain that. And then Senator Lindsey Graham. Senator Lindsey Graham. Where should we start? I think we should start with this Randy Kaufman figure. Do you know who this Randy Kaufman guy is? I didn't know who this was.
I didn't know about who he was. I think it was when I was traveling to go film on set, and I saw people saying MAGA masturbator, and I was like, oh God, what is going on right now? Like, who is this? Someone that we know, or is this someone that is like soon to be infamous for?
Here is Randy Kaufman. I don't know if you have to say much beyond this, but here's what happened, Gabe. So apparently, he's running for some kind of college board or college something, right? He is an outright MAGA Republican, and he's running for a board that oversees education at a certain campus. Now, he was caught by a police officer at this campus in his truck with his pants down, apparently, waxing the old carrot, playing with his pud, choking the chicken, as it were, if you know what I'm saying.
Playing with the little baby carrot.
Yeah, that's what he was doing, apparently.
Wow.
We have it on a local report on News 3 here. Let's give it a listen for just a second.
Our Brianna Whitney is here now with the details of this arrest and the implications, Brianna, for the election.
Yeah, Derek, there's a lot of factors to all of this. For one thing, early ballots have already gone out with Randy Kaufman's name on them. But until he formally withdraws with the county recorder's office, he could still win, even with a public sexual indecency charge.
So he was charged with sexual indecency. Again, it appears that he was parked in his truck and he was near a preschool that is on campus, at the same campus where he's trying to be elected to the board. It doesn't seem like this is going to go well for him with the ballot. You know, the only question I have is how many people actually mark his name on the ballot. Like, that's going to be the real tell here. Like, that's what I want to know.
Yeah.
Is how many people, I mean, you know, they're willing to vote for these crazy MAGA kooks. But, you know,
Well, you know, it takes one to know one. So I'm sure there's a lot of people that totally support him from the Republican Party. We also know the Republican Party is full of projection and denial. You know, I didn't do it. I didn't do it. And it's like, dude, we literally call you in your truck.
No, I'm not against watching porn or, again, choking your chicken, however you want to say it. But you probably should do it in the privacy of your home, right?
Yeah, look,
I mean,
if you're gonna do it, you know, it's like do it in the bathroom or somewhere, you know, like
somewhere
in
private.
your own home. You know, your body, your choice. Don't put that shit onto other people.
Yeah,
don't jerk off,
especially near a preschool. Now, apparently, the police officer on the scene actually kind of gave the what for to Kaufman. Kaufman asked if he was going to put the fact that they were at a preschool in the report, and the officer apparently told him, "Look, it's kind of weird that the kids are out playing and you're sitting here doing what you're doing. Yeah, I'm going to put it in a report.
I'm going to put it in there. You fucking creep."
Right. So this gentleman here on the TV is a political analyst, and he's speaking about the election. But listen to the dismount here.
I think this causes people to maybe hold their ballots longer because they'll say, well, what about these other candidates? What if something else should pop up?
What if something else should pop up, Gabe? I think that's all we need to say about the Republican Party.
Yeah. I think like every day there's always something popping. You're like, oh, look, this person who's an aide also found out that they were having loads of child porn. You're like,
boing, oing, 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 oing. I don't know what is popping up over there. But speaking of popping up, Lindsey Graham, he's popped up in the news all of a sudden again. Gabe, is he going to have to do some testifying under oath? What do you think?
I think he will. I think, you know, I think you talked about earlier, you know, his history as a, you know, jag, not a jag off, but a jag.
Well, easy. He may identify as a jag off. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't
know.
He's
certainly someone that will end up having to, he'll have to talk. He'll have to say something. He'll have to come forward and actually give testimony. He can't avoid this any longer.
Right.
So,
well, and he is claiming that he might go to the Supreme Court. I don't know if he will.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Lindsey Graham would want a loss in the Supreme Court for this. And I think the reason why Lindsey Graham definitely does not want to go testify and be questioned by Fulton County prosecutors because he is actually being questioned and wants to be questioned. I actually don't believe Lindsey Graham is a target here. Everyone thinks Lindsey's going to go to prison, maybe committed crimes. I think he knows what crimes are committed. That's why they want to question him. And Lindsey Graham doesn't want to incriminate himself, which he knows he can inadvertently incriminate himself. Even though he thinks he knows all the facts, he may not know. And he knows this as a prosecutor. He was a JAG prosecutor. And so this idea that you know everything that prosecutors know is really, it's not a thing that you should just assume. And what you should do, your best bet, is to lawyer up and do not incriminate yourself. And that's what Lindsey Graham is doing. Lindsey Graham knows he's not a target because he's being questioned. He's likely not a target. There is another target that they're trying to aim for, Trump, and the fake elector scheme. But Lindsey Graham knows that there is potential that he could have criminal liability if he goes in and talks to them. So he's trying to avoid it at all costs. But Kyle has it here. He says, just in the appeals court panel unanimously ruled Lindsey Graham can be questioned by Fulton County prosecutors about his post-election conversation with Georgia officials. They are rejecting his claim of total immunity under speech and debate clause. Because what Lindsey Graham, the clause that he's trying to use, is basically saying, hey, I'm a sitting senator in the government, and I am just questioning and making sure that everything was done fairly inside the government, which is a really stupid argument that he can't go be questioned by prosecutors. He has that right to make that claim, but he doesn't have the right, and this is what the appeals panel is saying, he doesn't have the right to immunity because he has the ability to question this on an official level. Because Lindsey Graham, being a United States senator, has an official capacity to question an election. He has that authority.
Yeah.
He is
anyone can question. It's just what your role was after questioning.
Right, exactly. And what the intent and motive was.
Right. If you were like, hey, you should throw out these ballots, these legal mail-in ballots, it begins to be a little illegal.
Well, just like yesterday when I was talking about these Dropbox watchers, have you seen this clean QAnon vote USA or something like that? I don't remember what the name is. Something like that. They're taking pictures of people dropping mail-in ballots in ballot boxes, secure ballot boxes. Yesterday we watched a video on Maricopa County.
Yeah.
And I said, you are free to take video and pictures on a public sidewalk. That is a thing you are free to do. But you aren't free to do it if you have criminal motives and intent. Like, it can be a crime if your motives are criminal. Just because it is legal to do doesn't mean you're legally doing it. Just like Lindsey Graham knows that just because he has the legal authority to do this doesn't mean he was legally doing it, and there's criminal exposure. So that's why Lindsey Graham popped up on Bonehead of the Week. Now we have a dishonorable mention here. Liz Truss. Who the hell is Liz Truss? I don't know who this is. Who is this? Are we supposed to know who this is?
Well, she's certainly not in this country.
Oh, okay.
You might find her in the UK as the incompetent woman that conservatives love to compare to, I don't know, Kevin McCarthy's. What specific bill was it or plan? I'm trying to.
Oh yeah, I don't know.
Economic.
It's the Republican. Plan. We want to strip your economy away from
right.
Well, here I got a great video from Larry Kudlow. If for people who don't know, this TV personality dumbass was actually, because he was on TV, was in the Trump administration. That's I think that's the only reason why anyone was in the fucking Trump administration, because they were in front of a camera. But this is September 23rd. Okay, so this is not that long ago. You know why it's not that long ago? You know why it's not that long? I think this Liz Truss, she became prime minister at this point. And it's almost like that's the news, is she had to step away because of her economic plan. But let's see what Larry Kudlow's take was on September 23rd.
The U.S. midterm elections cavalry arrived early in London. What do I mean by that? Well, the new British Prime Minister Liz Truss has laid out a terrific supply-side economic growth plan.
Oh, Gabe, you hear that? Great. Holy moly. This is almost going to be like it is an absolute fairy tale fantasy play out, a blueprint for what Republicans are going to do in this country. This was September 23rd of this year. Surely this does not turn out awful in the end. This story can't have a bad ending, right?
No, maybe. I don't know. Let's play the clip.
Which looks a lot like the basic thrust of Kevin McCarthy's Commitment to America plan.
Ouch.
Let's start with Truss. She is slashing tax rates and deregulating energy. I just love it. That's the liberal business media. This is so wonderful. The liberal business media. You know what I'm talking about
Is he talking the Kanye thing? Is that what he's saying? I don't know. I can't. When they start using
every
these
one
words,
of these people are like, my voice is being suppressed. My rights are being suppressed. I'm oppressed. I'm this, I'm that. It's like, dude, you got your own fucking show.
Right.
And you're fucking simping for the new PM, Liz Truss, and her economic plan where you're cutting taxes and you're deregulating.
I'm sure this doesn't go well.
Which I would say that if we know from our own history, that shit ain't good.
What's funny is it took 44 days for them to realize this not only is this plan a bad idea, she's a horrible idea. Watch this.
Is now trashing her plan. That tells me Truss has it exactly right.
Because the fact is, Gabe, the reason why she's on the Bonehead of the Week is she now resigned. She resigned. 44 days. The reason why she had to resign is because the economic plan wasn't going to work.
I mean, if we want to measure this, give it another metric, I think this is a fair one, right? This is someone we've had on the show. Yeah. And his name is now used as a way to measure things.
Oh, really?
He even had something to say the other day when her resignation came through.
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about, because people were talking about the time period, like how long was
how long was she there?
Because
how long did she last?
One thing that was trending was lettuce, because it seems like a head of lettuce lasted longer than she did, but maybe, just maybe, I think I know who you're talking about. Is Anthony Scaramucci. He tweeted.
Oh, no, actually, this is different. He actually, that was today.
Oh, okay.
Unrelated. I'm jumping the shark. I'm jumping the
well,
gun here in terms of.
I mean, we're going to get to next. We're going to get to Steve Bannon because I think he got the alpha cuck. Yeah, we totally jumped the shark here. Steve Bannon gets.
Here we go. Okay, now I found it. Sorry, I was a little early. Early.
Yeah, well, it happens. You get distracted. You got to memorize propaganda scripts for George Soros medical groups. Let's see here. Here we go. Liz Truss lasted 4.1 Scaramucci's. Now, I quote tweeted this and I said official. This comes from the mooch himself.
It does.
This totally has to be.
I mean, we had him on the show and we asked him, "Can you give us the actual measure of time?"
Right. If you want to go watch that interview, just what you need to do is you need to subscribe and follow the Tony Michaels podcast on YouTube. That interview is still up. You can go see Anthony Scaramucci tell us exactly what a Scaramucci is. What's this next one?
This is also, I believe, what you meant about the lettuce. All of these Scaramucci ones are just coming out of the worst.
Oh, okay, now. Okay. I see. One Scaramucci equals a carton of milk. One Truss equals a head of lettuce. So it's like the same. So a head of lettuce.
Yeah. Right. Okay, it's like, at what point do they go bad? Did they spoil? Do you have to toss them out?
Does a carton of milk go bad in 11 days? I mean, I don't know that a carton of milk has last 11 days in my house, but I don't know.
I mean, I'm guessing. I think that's past the point at which it's like.
I think he's just trying to say if you're going to compare them to groceries, right?
Right.
Like food products.
I think what it's like past the point of like buy or sell by or whatever. This is like when it expires or whatever.
Oh, Liz Truss. Oh, I'm so happy that the conservatives in this country were so excited that Liz Truss became the prime minister as a blueprint for their great plans for our country. And it didn't last 44 days. Well, it lasted 45 days, I guess.
Right.
And it's done.
You got to round up a little bit, you know?
Right. Now, today is Sentencing Friday.
Mm-hmm.
It's sentencing day on Friday, and we know the alpha cuck this week, Steve Bannon, was sentenced today.
Yeah.
A lot of people are a little confused and a little upset about this sentencing, Gabe.
Yeah, I mean, rightfully so.
Well, I mean, some people think it should have been more. The judge, obviously, in the hearing said, look, it's going to be between 1 and 6 months.
Yeah.
And I think I said this a couple months ago. I thought, well, when they announced that he was going to be sentenced on this day, I said, I think he'll get 3 or 4 months. That's what I thought he would get. I believe that's what I said. I'd have to go back and look at the tape, but I believe that's what I thought I said. About 4 months. So that's pretty close. But here's the thing is people are upset that Steve Bannon is not in jail. But that is not normally how federal prison sentences work in the first place. If generally, if you're out on pre-trial, and we know this from the Bob McDonnell case, I mentioned this in the first part of the podcast. The Bob McDonnell case, he was the governor of Virginia. He was charged with felonies. He went to court and was found guilty of felonies. And the judge let him stay out on appeal, meaning you have this ability to appeal, of course. And because it's a non-violent crime and you've been on pre-trial and, yada, 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 the judge can grant you the ability to stay out of jail while you're on appeal. Here's the problem that Steve Bannon has, okay? That I think Bob McDonnell had as well, but he went to the Supreme Court and they overruled his conviction. Now, Steve Bannon has this problem. The appeals process is going to be done by judges, and his charge is contempt. And judges are normally the ones who hold people in contempt. So I don't know that they're going to be, on Steve Bannon's side here for contempt. Appeals judge or not, really. The other thing, too, is Steve Bannon didn't have a defense in the trial. That's why it didn't take very long. And it didn't take the jury very long to find him guilty because he didn't have a defense because he did what they said he did.
Right.
And he even said, yeah, I did that thing. He made this executive privilege claim. In the end, that fell apart on him.
Yeah.
Totally fell apart on him. And that's where his defense just absolutely lost it. Now, I want to reassure the audience. He will more than likely, 99.9% sure as I was that he would give 3 or 4 months, I'm as sure that he'll lose this appeal, no matter how far he takes it. He's going to serve every single day of this 4 months. When you get sentenced in a federal court like this to prison, you serve every single day. Now, he's going to get 1 day credit, Gabe, for the day that the great day, the great feeling that we had. Yeah, that perp walk, the BOP, the Bureau of Prisons will give him credit for that 1 day because he was detained. So they have to give him 1 day's credit for that detainment while he was being arraigned because he was under arrest. So they'll give him that. So he's only got 1 day credit. But here's what I don't understand about Steve Bannon here and about this this sentencing. And then we'll move on to the winner of the week, the bonehead of the week. Here's what I really don't get. Why Steve Bannon just didn't turn himself over at this point to serve out this 4 months. He knows he's going to have to do every single day of this.
Well, because well,
I was going to say, there's another figure in history, and maybe Steve Bannon could write a book. Maybe he could have wrote a book over the next 4 months. You know what? I've even got a great title for it. A great title for a book that Steve Bannon could have wrote over the next 4 months. My Struggle could be, I think that would be a perfect title. He could whine and cry into a book about his struggle and blame all kinds of other people and, really stoke fear with his book and try to gain a movement with his book called My Struggle. I don't know. Maybe he should think about that.
Yeah, I mean, he could totally go for the victim game. I thought, in my mind, I was like, oh, maybe he'll do like a little graphic novel and it'll be called like The Decomposing Corpse, and it's like the reanimated zombie.
Like a flip book where you flip?
Yeah, kind of like a flip book. Like you see him go from
him melting,
just like up to adult life, but then at the same time, he's simultaneously just like flaking away and leaving his remnants.
It could be called The Decomposition of a Scab. I don't know. Could be. I don't know. Scabby Steve is what we call him here. So Steve Scab Bannon, or Sloppy Steve as he's known by his buddies, is the Alpha Cuck of the Week for receiving 4 months in federal prison. And folks, I know it's going to take a little bit. Trust me, he will serve this sentence. But speaking of people who serve sentences, he's not very good with them, forming them, and he's probably going to get sued for a lot of them that he said lately. Is our Bonehead of the Week winner, Kanye West, or Ye, as he wants to be known. Do I have that right? Do I have that right? Ye?
Yeah, Kanye.
Kanye.
Yeah, he's Ye, the artist formerly known as Kanye West. Very much the same way as like Prince kind of.
Is that how he wants it?
That's he's officially changed it to Ye.
Formal, but does he want
artist
the formally known?
I believe that's how a lot of people are talking about right now. So I believe that's how he wants. Though I'm not going to give a lot of respect in terms of the name that you want when you're an anti-Semite. So forgive me if I say what your name is originally because of the way in which you talk about Jewish people and also those within your community. So I don't have a lot of respect for him. It's one of those things where it's like, well, you're complaining about having your rights taken away and this and that. But look, man, every private company out there can make their own choice based on the things that you do, based on the things that you say. There are consequences for your actions, right? I mean,
he's starting to see consequences with Adidas really getting nervous here.
Well, also
explain the Adidas thing though.
I haven't read too much into it lately, but he has a deal, right? He's got the Yeezys.
It's a shoe deal, right?
It's a shoe deal that he has with Adidas. And there was also a clip that came up recently where he was in front of a bunch of Adidas execs, and
it was a really weird, and he released it, right? He put it on the internet.
Yeah, and it was, I don't know if it was like a power move to release it. I mean, it was clearly a power move to be in this meeting with them, and they were just sitting in the group in chairs, and he was like, "No, look," and he's like showing this sex tape or this like porn or whatever it was, and it's just fucking so insane. And since then, Balenciaga has also dropped him. I think that happened just this morning, honestly.
Oh, really? Well, I mean, they're all going to drop him. Kanye West is not only ruining his image, he's ruining his selling power here. Right. I mean, because that's why Adidas had a contract with him anyways because of his selling power. But that's really why Candace Owens and her husband has tried to manipulate Kanye's because of his selling power. That's what the right wants, is his selling power. They could care less about Kanye.
Oh yeah, and I mean, really, even if we were to quickly look at the numbers for, because I had them up. I was like writing a tweet yesterday. Okay, so Parler. The failing right wing.
This is the one that Candace Owens' husband is the CEO. His name is Farmer, right?
Right. George Farmer, and that's just the app. That's not like the cloud services side. You know, the actual money making side, right? They're going to help him continue to add those things in to run Parler. I don't know if there's a fee or included, but they will help him on that side. So they're selling the one that has no value. The one that was scraped by the internet, the one where people were planning the insurrection on because they had no moderation tools. But to give everyone a perspective,